everybody. Today I'd like to formally go over the model of the self-care approach to health, which I classify as humanistic health or humanistic self-care, either way. The idea is that it is an alternative. I wouldn't say an alternative. It is an addition to the way that we pursue health, as opposed to the scientific model, which is a lot more, I guess, procedure based. This is more process based. This is also in the realm of proactive health, and in that way, the results are the same. So the idea with this model is each person has an individual environment of health. This environment of health moves with the person throughout life. Through the different stages, this environment is there. The more that this environment is promoted, essentially seen, the end result of this is kind of the growth of the person, then we have a healthy individual. The three elements that kind of contribute to this environment are mental, physical, and emotional health, or what we view as that. The idea is when they work together in unison, they create this environment of health. Uh, if a person is met with a stressor or a stressful situation, the idea behind this environment of health is that they would have already have done the hard work to now meet that challenge with the growth that is superior to it, meaning that they will rise to the occasion without using a compensation, but using their kind of internal resources, they'll be able to overcome this challenge. Also, there's other strategies to dealing with problems that are bigger than what the person already knows, and that is also in that model as well. Um, the idea being that the crisis doesn't have to happen, and then we try to scramble everything to try to overcome it, and ultimately use a compensation, which we think is good, and actually does harm to this personal environment of health. And therefore, in the long run, we see expressions of this, again, which would be negative effects in the mental, physical, and emotional realm, which might be in the physical realm injury, which might be in the mental realm another style of injury, but we call this, let's say, stress, or we'd call this frustration or anger, the lack of ability to deal with emotions, essentially, and the emotional realm, which is the blocking out of experiences of life. This is essentially somebody being in an environment like a birthday party, and normally everybody's happy at a birthday party, but this person kind of tends to not be happy. This means that they're blocking out some kind of feedback from the environment, more or less. Another example of how this works in a very lifelike situation is that the person will need to undergo a kind of maturity. So the limiting factor to this self-care model is that there must be experience. Kind of like philosophy, there must be an experience before a person can take on this challenge. Therefore, life must happen. We'd say people that are generally 25 years and younger are not going to have the amount of experience that's going to lead towards the full implementation of self-care. However, there is an additional model that I've made that deals with that more correctly and is more associated with guidance for those kind of individuals. Moving past that point, having this one emotional environment of health contributing to the three elements, which mental, physical, and emotional, with the idea of growth being number one. This is essentially a way of self-efficacy coupled with the individuation process, self-growth process, and in that way we can see that we can sustain wherever we are for long periods of time. Another challenge that's often seen with the kind of traditional way of dealing with health is that when the results come to the individual, it's not sustainable. They might go to the surgery, they might go through the physio, they might go to the trainer, they might go to the massage therapist, but outside of that, what they're doing is not sustainable. This to me suggests that the way that we're doing it is incomplete. We're missing a few pieces there. And self-care aims to fill in those missing pieces always. And in this way, bring about something that's more sustainable for a long period of time. This means that the person has to truly accomplish it for themselves, and we can note this by a person's actions. A person's actions is in the truest sense what they know, which means what they can bring to life, which means what they can act on, and in that way, from that perspective, we can see the end results. Therefore, we can say that injury is always caused by the things that we don't pay attention to, as opposed to the things that we do pay attention to. I guess in that way, it can also said the things that we focus so much on allow the injury to happen because we're not paying attention to the reverse of that thing. Often, people might think, again, that addressing mental, physical, and emotional health separately is the way to help somebody. This is kind of half help. It's not complete. They do need to be balanced with each other for there to be a kind of a full expression of allowing health to happen. Often we do stand in our own way of being healthy. This has to do with certain beliefs that are, let's say, confused. Often a person will have in their way of viewing life or taking on life, their lifestyle, Alfred Adler, they will have two conflicting messages. For example, a mother may say, to be the best mother I can be, which is very important to me, I need to make sure I give all my attention to my children and husband. This may be true for that person. However, in the kind of reality of things, you could never be the best you actually can be if you're giving all your resources away. You do need to have some resources for yourself. And in that sense, it's better to lead by example and be there to catch the person as opposed to being there behind them every step of the way. In this sense, we have to know that as parents, we've done the hard work and we've given the lessons that we can give, and now it's time to more observe and believe in the work that we've done in our child. Essentially, giving that belief makes a huge change towards a very positive setup for the personal environment of health. This is my formal model of how to pursue healthcare, the elements that are self-care, the elements that are in that model, how they kind of work and transition together in a very flowing way. So these are the outline of the elements, and later on I might make a diagram that's more specific. However, I will try to stay away from things that way because I do not want the process to turn into a procedure, and this is the battle between the humanistic way of doing health versus the other ways. Every way is good. In fact, the only way that this way can exist is that the others existed before it. And I think that we can all work together to promote, again, our number one goal, which is the growth of the individual towards their potential. Therefore, gaining more resources for everyone by them leading by an example. Thank you very much and have a great day.